Good morning. What's good? What's good? What's good? Give me 1 second. Let's see this. Can I do it now? Whatever. Good morning, guys. Good morning. I'm going to be trading the Open today. Going to be trading the Open. I haven't started my analysis yet, so just give me 1 second. Just figuring everything out. Okay. I am cutting out. I mean, I'm not really talking much. It really has to do, like, unfortunately, the way YouTube works. Sometimes the quality, like, it's nothing that I can do on my end. Like, I'm looking over to the left, at my audio gauge, and like, I mean, it's hearing me perfectly fine. So unfortunately, it's probably just connection. Okay, that's better now. Good. Just give me a second here, guys, and we will start up. How'd everyone do yesterday? Yesterday's New York AM. The pre-market was decent, but the open was not the greatest. trades. Here we go. Fire, 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 fire. Book to partial. Got it, got it, got it. It's all good. It's all good, guys. All good. Lost $500 in my funnel last night. First trade on it. Looking for things that help me make back. Yes, sir, bro. Yes, sir. Don't worry, bro. 500 on a funded. That's nothing. You'll be fine. Got to be on the second. Got break even on the second retest of the first presented. Damn, yeah, that probably sucked. I'll go over my outlook in just a second, brother. Just a second. I just need to pull up something real fast. Just give me 1 second. Just need to mess around my first presented fair value gap chart. What I'm doing right now. Funnily enough, even though the the New York AM open regular trading hours, even though that's my most traded session, you guys actually haven't seen me trade that session just yet. Well, I mean, I guess you can say that I traded yesterday, but I don't think that really counts because we didn't really take anything, or at least I didn't. For some reason, I don't know why, but when I hopped on, my first presented fair value gap chart didn't have any fair value gaps plotted, which fucking sucks. I don't know why that happened, but whatever. Whatever. Okay. Let me see here. All right. So, Let's see. What did you guys? T. Yo, what's up? Do you use first percent? No, I don't. I draw them. I draw them all out. I mean, I have like things that just like plot some stuff for me, like the new week opening gap, opening range gap. I have like this fractals indicator and a power of three, but that's it. I don't really have like anything else. Do you think we can trade into this? I have no idea. So let's get into my analysis here. So on the daily chart, on the daily, you would obviously want to see some lower prices here. As to whether or not we actually start delivering lower, I have no idea. It is a Friday, so the idea is that we want to see a retracement back into 20 to 30% of the weekly range. That's TGIF. But I go ahead and just draw out some quadrants here. Just go ahead and do it like this. So we've already retraced within 20 to 30%, which tells me that probabilities have already dropped off for the New York AM session. Okay, just putting that out there. Probabilities have already dropped off. Why? Because in terms of Friday's characteristic, because I don't want to get too deep into this, but long story short, Friday has its own separate like profile and characteristic. And its main use is to retrace back into the weekly range, especially if it was one-sided. And yes, although we didn't have like a crazy expansive one-sided week like we, have had previously, this was a one-sided week. And this low that was put in place, which was on, I think was it yesterday or was it, yeah, which was yesterday, we can reasonably expect that Friday is going to retrace back into 20 to 30% of the weekly range. And as you see, we're already at 25% of the weekly range. So, in terms of technicalities, technically speaking, we have done enough. Okay, we have done enough. Now, as to whether or not price wants to retrace a little bit more, or if it actually wants to deliver lower, we'll see. The level that I am going to be keying up on is this discount wick right here. Why am I keying up on this discount wick? Because it is a part of this larger breaker block. Sorry. Now, obviously, if we're expecting lower prices, you would reasonably expect for us to run up into the quadrants and octants and then peel over, overlapping all of this inefficiently delivered price action. In my opinion, I don't really want to key up on any of this because I feel like this breaker is a little bit more of a pertinent level for delivery. Now, we may just keep on rejecting from here and not even revisit it, and we might end up visiting this right here, which we'll see. We'll be monitoring to see. Does the Trump speech this afternoon affect? No, not by any. I mean, I have no idea what it's about, but we'll see. I have no idea what it's about though. So I'm just highlighting this as the unfilled. I'm highlighting that as like just like an unfilled portion of the larger daily BISI here. All in all, you have to ask me where do I think price is going today? Just based off of pure price action, I would like to say lower, but remember it's a Friday, meaning that we expect that weekly retracement, and unfortunately, we have already done enough in order to satisfy those conditions. Just something to keep note of. So let's hop into a 15-minute time frame. As you can see, price ran up, found some resistance within the breaker block low and that discount wick. We also found resistance here at the opening price of this up close candle, which is an order block, last up close candle before this large down move. And take a look at this. Do you see this? Wow. This is beautiful. This all right here, trend line sell side, absolutely beautiful. Now, of course, if we are bearish, we would reasonably expect for price to run against all of this. Taking a look at this is absolutely fucking gorgeous. This is amazing. Also, something to keep note of: these two highs right up here, they are relatively equal. We could see price sweep them. The only unfortunate part about these highs is that, think about it like this: if price sweeps out these highs, then I would definitely be sidelined because I'm not sure if we're going to want to go to these highs, go to these high, go to this high, these highs, or if we're going to want to sweep these highs and then roll over. I'll have to wait for a lot more information to do so. Also, within this area right here, this is the first presented fair value gap from Wednesday, August 19th. So technically speaking, these highs up here can be left intact and we could just continue to roll over. We'll of course see what we want to do at the open because the open changes everything. So we have all of this, as the Instagram traders would like to call, low resistance liquidity. We have all of this low resistance liquidity. We have the trend line sell side. Here's that 5 minute. We've closed beneath this low, which is a signature of bearishness. That tells me that we have shifted market structure. But like I said, everything could change. We have formed an SMT here, though, which is something that, for me, is a little bit more significant, mainly due to the fact that we ended up rejecting from a significant level that we would already be expecting price to roll over from, right? So the SMT to me is significant. And of course, forming an SMT with YM as well. Then let's go down to a 1 minute here. So I just want to take a look at regular trading hours. So we have these relative equal highs up here, nested inside of the opening range gap from yesterday, which is something I'll key up on. Hmm. Let me take note here. I'm just going to draw these out. So there's that regular trading hours buy side. I'm curious to see if we want to sweep that out during the. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I'm keeping that plotted just in case. So here's these relative equal highs up here. Pretty fucking clean. Like that's like to the tick perfect. Um, but I really like all of this sell side down here. It looks pretty nice. So we'll see. We'll see what comes via the open. Um, Definitely want to take note of what price wants to do once we get that injection of volatility. We got a clustering of new days, but that in itself isn't enough for me to subscribe to higher prices. Really, my point of contention for today, what makes it hard for me to subscribe to anything, is just because of the fact that now we've put in these super clean relative equal highs. We have relative equal highs all the way up here as well, which, is going to be a bit difficult to kind of fade. It really depends on the higher time frame premise. And like I said, I am expecting lower prices, so ideally I would want to see price run lower, and all of this sell side down here kind of supports the idea of that. But we have to see if price wants to induce those relative equal highs first, or if it just wants to roll over. Because on ES, you can see we've kind of purged out the highs to the left, which technically means the market has done more than enough in order to work lower. Same thing with YM. YM has been made completely jagged. Um, so we'll have to see what we want to do. But we wait for the open. We wait for the open. So let me open up my YouTube chat here. ES made equal highs. Yeah, I mean, for me personally, like that isn't enough for me to feel comfortable seeing all-time highs, unless you're talking about this. Oh, okay. Talking about these highs, aren't you? Yeah, Those look pretty clean. We'll have to keep note. There is a small little volume imbalance here that we could reasonably say price rejected from, but hard to say. What's the new day opening gap indicator? It's just called. It's called. Let me see here. Let me This one right here. It's called New Week Opening Gap / New Day Opening Gap source code body. Yes, we are within. We are between relative equal highs and relative equal lows. Honestly, this move right here is pretty fucking clean. This is a really, really nice move. Wow. Sometimes it will go against unless we don't the next turn. Oh, are we going to be gapping? Let's see where we're going to be opening up. 29,446. 29,281. Oh, so we're going to have a really large. We're going to have a larger opening range gap. What's good, Daniel? Oh, what's up, Danny? What's going on, bro? Hmm. What a nice little drop here. This is uncommon. Hmm. When are we looking for sells? Come on, bro. Come on. Sorry if you guys hear that. It's just me absolutely fucking knocking down water. What happened to Discord and streaming there? I just figured it's like a great way to, connect a little bit more and put myself out there, I guess. And, I also I want to start teaching a little bit more in the Discord, like giving some free content. So, it'd just be a really nice way to kind of put myself out there. Need the ICT chat hydrated. That guy's desperate for signals. Yeah, I know. Guys, listen, just a reminder, please, please, please do not use me as a signal service. I will take trades and I lose. So if you take a trade that I'm taking, remember that you're taking it based on your discretion and your discretion only. So if you full port your account, if you put everything on the line, you take the same trade as me, you are taking on the same amount of risk I am, which is you can lose or you can win. Just want to put it out there because I know a lot of people are going to be chomping at the bit to place a trade the moment I press a button. If we can reasonably see both buy side and sell side being taken, best thing is to stay patient for one side to be booked. Yep, that is the best thing to do. It's the best thing to do. You can see in this market, what do we have? We have some relative equal highs up here, really fucking clean. I actually want to check, are they like perfectly to the tick the same price? So the high comes in at 29,539. This one comes in at 20. Yeah, so same exact high. So we got super clean relative equal highs, and we have a ton. Like we have so much sell side. Look at this. This is like Candyland down here. All of this is just fucking beautiful. No problem, bro. It was just the other days I was just expecting a cleaner pre-market session. Like we had a clean pre-market session yesterday, and I mean I traded. I ended up taking those longs. I actually took shorts into that low and then longs off of that low. That was created at 8:30 ish. But we're in 9:25. The first 5 minutes before the open seems to have like its own little purpose. I wonder what ICT has to say about that. Hmm. Here's what I'm thinking happens. I'm thinking at the open, we trade 50% of this range. Yeah, I'm thinking we trade 50% of this range, and then we start dumping over. Because these relative equal highs, I mean, obviously, to to be safe, you would want to see these relative equal highs be swept or relative equal lows swept first. But taking a look at this, like, this is enough for us to work lower, especially after how we've traded beyond these lows and these lows as well. So just something to keep note of. So this is the idea, guys. All of this down here. Candyland, we have the unfilled portion of the daily Bissy. We'll see what we want to do here. Do you guys want some music on? You guys want me to put some music on? I feel like it gets kind of stale. If not, that's fine. Do I use 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. range? Um, it depends on what you mean by that. Like, yeah. I'll put on some very, very, very faint house music. How loud is that? Oh wait, you guys can't even hear it, or can you? Can you guys hear that or not? What about now? A little quieter, okay. Okay, guys, I'm going to close up the chat here so I can lock in. So I'll tune in with you guys after the session or after I've concluded my trading. course it's gonna leave. It's really annoying. Yeah, this gap probably won't be visited. Probably gonna be super weak. Oh, it's so annoying. It's gonna rip out all the sell side in like 4 candles, bro. Well, I mean, it's what I said would happen. It was that was real easy read. We'll see if it gives us the trade back into it, but unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. I think at most we trade here. So, like, this is weak. So we've completely closed through the upper quadrant. We've completely closed through, well, not closed through yet, but we pretty much breached that consequent encroachment. So what are you going to do about it? Yeah, this is just going to be really weak. We got to pay attention to what we want to do at the midpoint. So, like, these lows right here. Because the way ICT teaches trendline sell side, all it needs to book is just the midpoint of the trend line. And then that's it. Oof. I don't want to take part in this. Like, I know these fair value gaps look real nice, but I don't want to partake in trying to short off these. Because if this is my terminus point, we're pretty much at the midpoint. I mean, I guess it could still play. I'd want to see a bit of a deeper retracement. If we can get it. OTE, that would be beautiful. I have strong conviction about the draw, but I unfortunately just don't want to be taking my short off here. Well, unfortunately, it looks like it's just going to leave without me, so... Like I told you guys, hopefully no one was looking for longs off of that open. At least for now, until we reach this sell side, hopefully no one was looking for longs, because that was sort of an easier read. Let's see if it gives that retracement. If it can give us the retracement back into OTE, that would be beautiful. But we're already beneath the consequent encroachment of the opening range gap. As I've stated in the video that I posted, that's just straight up indicative of weakness. There's nothing more to it. We are extremely weak. And it makes sense because, you know, we have all of this low resistance liquidity down here. All of this sell side, unfilled portion of the opening range gap, unfilled portion of that daily buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. This right here, this is like classic. You guys will see this all the time. Build up of sell side, sweeping out relative equal highs overnight, and then a significant drop during New York AM. A retracement's not possible here. A retracement's not, impossible, I mean. Um, 9:30. The reason why I'm choosing 9:30 a.m. as my first presented is because if you look to the left, what do we do right as soon as we open on that 9:30 a.m. candle? We sweep out relative equal highs. ICT teaches that the relative equal highs can be indicative of the 9:30 a.m. candle being our first presented, and of course in this case that's exactly what we get. So I'm choosing that as my first presented. This would have been perfect if it gave an entry at the first presented. Whatever. And just so you guys can take a look here, I'll bring your attention to my first presented fair value gap chart. So notice what price did, right? So we define this range. Like I said, here's our range. Price was going to trade up right to the equilibrium, and then it was going to roll over. And then right as soon as we start rolling over, take a look at what we do. We breach the consequent encroachment of yesterday's first presented, and we trade right up to the consequent encroachment, and bang. I was so tempted to go short there, but I wanted to see the first presented get formed first. That's where I have my limit order, for those of you wondering. But honestly, at this point now, I'm not too sure if we're gonna want to ever come back up. So we're gonna have to just let that go. Bro, this month PA has been fun. I mean, there's been days where it's been okay, but you just got to make sure that you're on side with the narrative. What if we gap up or down away from previous day range? Is it considered taking liquidity for 9:30 a.m. candle? No. I guess there's no TGIF. Yeah, there probably won't be any TGIF today. TGIF will probably be deferred to Monday. The only thing that we could potentially do here is pull back into OTE. That would be it. How do you use previous days first presented? The way I like looking at the previous days first presented is I like looking at it the same way I look at a new day opening gap or a new week opening gap. So like if there's a new day opening gap, obviously I'm not just going to want to take an entry or base my entire entry or idea just off the fact that there's a new day opening gap. But if we happen to be trading to and we trade through the first presented fair value gap when I'm already expecting lower prices. So for instance, in today's case, I was already expecting lower prices, right? Because of the huge buildup of sell side we had. We tapped into a bearish breaker block. We tapped into a bearish daily breaker block. So these highs don't have to be revisited. And then you can see this wicking is indicative of weakness. We trade lower. So I already have this premeditated idea
of seeing lower prices. And what happens? Price ends up trading higher. We find resistance around equilibrium point, and then we explode lower. The fact that we breached the consequent encroachment of the first presented, that tells me everything that I want to see personally as far as my idea is concerned, that being lower prices. So that right there is like sort of like a confirmation, if you will, on my idea. And when I see that, bang, I can be going short, whatever. So I'm gonna turn the music. Book sell side and tapped end dog. Yep. No, we were delivering out of something. We right out of here, we were delivering out of a bunch of stuff up here, like a bunch of stuff. How come that's your first presented? I thought you don't use 930. So the only time that obviously for those of you who know, you can only use the first presented if the fair value gap forms on the 931 candle all the way to the 959 candle. So it can't be the 9:30 a.m. SIBI or BISI, but that's excluding the fact that we swept out regular trading hours buy side or sell side. So the only time that I consider the first presented fair value gap as the 9:30 a.m. BISI or SIBI is if you go to the regular trading hours chart and you take a look to the left, what did we do on that 9:30 a.m. candle? You can see on that exact candle that forms the SIBI, we end up sweeping out relative equal highs on regular trading hours chart. That is a valid candidate. Ooh, something just came out. What is that? Was there 9:45 news? Oh, PMIs today? Got the same entry, never came back. Will you leave the entry there unless it sweeps out? Yes. PMI. Does regular trading hours eliminate Asia? Yes. Yes. Regular trading hours eliminates Asia session, London session, all of everything else besides the New York session. Yeah, because the way I'll look at it is let's just say that they leave this low right now, right, within the opening range. So the idea would be that we still have like a bunch of sell side resting. We still have that BISI, the unfilled portion of the BISI lower, and we would still have majority of the opening range gap left intact. However, what I will say is that the idea is no longer as strong. Okay, because I'm essentially hoping that price comes up and treats what's it called? I'm hoping that it treats OTE as sort of like a means of resistance. Can we take buy in CISD now? Jeez. I hope that CISD played out. No, that was definitely not a valid CISD. Looking for sells question mark. I am curious if you're looking at my chart right now. Based off the orders that I have set, what does it look like? Like it really, it honestly makes me question like you know I live stream so I could just kind of show people, you know, see what everyone wants to do, see how people are learning whatever. But then you just get people coming in here that just want a signal bot like. Yeah, you know what's right when it's called sells, not shorts. I marked out the swing high, swing low of this 15-minute range. Wouldn't waiting for equilibrium at high or higher at 427 be a better price due to it being at a premium? I'm sort of confused by what you mean. Are you saying this entire range? I'm telling you guys. Now at this point, like the probabilities have dropped. Macro incoming, yes. I started regular trading hours 2 days ago. So many misconceptions about yesterday's and today's. Was bang, but I could not make up to entry. When would you consider the first presented order block as opposed to the fair value gap? Well, the first presented order block is something that I'll only key up on if we get like a very specific like for instance, let's just say that somehow like right at 9:30 we were coming up, we were sweeping out these highs, and then at 9:31 or 9:32 we started trading lower, making this an order block. That's when I would consider the first presented order block. But to be honest with you, I rarely take trades off of order block. I mean, I don't want to say that. I do sometimes, but GS gap tap. Yeah, I know. Crazy shit. GS gap tap. And what's crazy too is that people think that like it's a new concept. Like it's literally just a fair value gap that resides in OTE. That's all it is. Or it's just the last fair value gap in a range, which is technically the same thing. Really wanted shorts the 15-second. Yeah, so essentially if the first presented order block takes meaningful liquidity. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously instances where you can take the first presented order block without it having to, what's it called, sweep out liquidity. But personally, that's not what I look for. It's just unmitigated. Yeah, ES barely did anything. I haven't really been checking actually. Yeah. So then, I mean, that tells me that there's potential to visit the highs, but NQ being this week, I mean, crazy. And I wonder, what are we doing on dollar? Dollar's pushing higher, so that's actually a really good sign. I mean, obviously, no hate to the guy. Like I think I do think he's a great trader. Of course, he makes money, so that's the whole point. But it's just like, how do I use dollar? Dollar's it's just a way for me to cross analyze the market. So like, dollar is supposed to have an inverse relationship with the indices. So the idea is like when dollar's moving higher, NQ is supposed to be working lower. Or inversely, if NQ is working higher, then dollar is supposed to work lower. Fuck, what did I want to check? I wanted to check something. I went on my phone to check something. Not too sure, honestly. Yeah, so now I'll cancel my order. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Why is NQ moving slower? NQ's moving beautifully right now. This is exactly what you want to see. Yeah, good. Yeah, that is true. Good movement for OPEX. That is true. Brother, it's moving pretty fast, bro. Take a look at this drop we had. We went from a high 485, and now we're all the way at 270. 200 points within the span of 25 minutes. That's pretty good. What do I think about the news of increasing the work time? I actually think it's going to be amazing, because if they do that, that means there's going to be 2 opening range gaps. There's going to be an opening range gap that closes at 414 and opens up back at 6, which is really just the new day opening gap for regular trading hours. And then there's going to be another opening range gap, which is from 4 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. That will be fucking sick, which means we're going to have 2 gaps to operate off of, which actually 3 gaps technically. I'm in eval jail after a few payouts. Any advice? Well, that tells me, number 1, that you're either too connected to the money, or number 2, you don't actually have a working process. Because it's really easy to get payouts. You don't need to have a system in order to get payouts. But in order to get consistent payouts, you need a system and you need a process. So my advice to you is to look within at what you're looking at and what you're trading to actually determine whether or not you are making a valiant effort to establish a process. Because most people, they think they are, but then they don't. Inside day? Maybe. We might have an inside day. We'll see. What would you consider longs after 10 a.m. if we continue to take a bit more sell side? Honestly, to be honest, like, okay, it's Friday, and we've already expanded 200 points lower. In my opinion, I think it's over. I think it's done. Or would you consider taking shorts on ES? Just want to... Yeah, honestly, yeah, it's for me, it's too overextended. Like, my opportunity for entry would have had to been at this first presented fair value gap from yesterday. Honestly, I hesitated a bit. Ooh. I honestly hesitated just a bit, but I should have went short at price bumping the consequent encroachment of yesterday's first presented, and then it started to expand. That's what I should have done. Good luck, brother. Good luck. We have swept enough sell side for the trend line in order to work higher, so. But I don't want to give call outs to something I wouldn't take. Fridays, we just continue and chop. Yup. I'm long. You should do these streams more often. Very insightful. Good to keep learning. Yeah, 100%. I plan on doing these. This is like sort of my plan. Like I want to continue to do these for you guys. I think that it's a great way. We really did reject off that breaker. That's beautiful. So, here's what I'll tell you. So I just saw if we see a resweep 10 along could be nice. Here's the thing, okay? This is so this is why think about it like this. Take a look at where we're at relative to this range. Right? Right here, we still have relative equal lows. We also have an unfilled portion of that daily busy. And we are still exceptionally heavy. Even if we get a resweep and we do set up some potential long setup, I would fade it. Because you're trying to long in a market that has expanded 200 points lower right off rip and has showed nothing but bearish signatures. That being opening range gap, being overlapped, us completely clearing through wicks. Like, I would recommend fading it. And even if, right, so this is like the biggest part. Because, like, it's easy to identify hard conditions. But what's hard is to identify hard conditions and still avoid price action even when a good move is delivered. That's where most people get fucked up. Because, you know, you can sit here and lay out all the rules in order to identify difficult conditions or shitty conditions in the marketplace. But what happens when there's shitty conditions and then it ends up looking real nice? What happens is if you take that trade and it does end up being real nice and it does end up delivering, what you just did is you just reinforced the idea of taking trades on days that are supposed to be shitty. Meaning that the next time you see those shitty conditions, you're automatically going to negate all of that information and you're just going to think that, oh, because the last time it delivered a good move, that means today it's going to be just as decent or it could deliver a good move, which is going to keep you justifying every fluctuation in price action. And then what ends up happening? You know, sure, you might end up winning on a day of no news Monday or another day of no news Monday, but then, you know, you get that one really bad no news Monday again, or, you know, you get 2 or 3 no news Mondays in a row that are really bad, and what happens? You trade every single one of them, and then you end up shitting the bed, and bang, there goes all your accounts. Right? So, one of the easiest things, like, it's honestly not hard to identify difficult conditions. What's hard is being able to quench that desire to push the button when you know that it's supposed to be shitty conditions, but it seems like price is moving. Like, if I'm looking at this, if I haven't gotten my entry, I'm done already. And I haven't, right? My entry would have been at the first presented, but nothing happened. And there's always going to be other days, right? There's always going to be better days. There's always going to be days where price delivers better. So, you know, we can always just wait. Oh, by the way, for those of you who don't know, I'm actually starting a like a little series. I'm not sure how I want to post it, but I'm starting a little series going from $0 to $50K in payouts, starting with just one account. So I want to show the whole process through and through. Just kind of documenting a bit of like a journey so that you guys can see what's possible with trading. And yeah, I'm going to be posting that continuously. So what I bought was a 50K account from Funded Futures Family. So their 50K Prime account. And their 50K Prime account, if you guys know how Lucid does their Lucid Pros, it's literally exactly the same. It's exactly the same. So it's going to be, you can pass in 1 day or 0 or 2 days, however long you want to take. And then it's 40% consistency rule on the funded. You can take a payout every 3 days, and you have to build a buffer of 2,100, and you can take max payout of 2K for your first payout, and then every payout after that is 2,500. And those are the accounts that I'm going for. So, yeah, that's goated, bro. Yeah, same here. T shorts already played out and hesitated. 9:30, manually locking out before I do something. And it's OPEX. Perfect, amazing, good idea. T, would you mind saying how much you've made in payouts? I'd like to keep those numbers a little bit to myself, but what I can say to you is that the challenge that I'll be doing is going to be a bit of a repeat. So, mocking April trades. Nah, bro. He's on a whole nother level. I'm trying to get to his level. I mean, it really is a capital game because as far as, like, capital is concerned, like, once you have... Like, dude, I always say this. Like, dude, once you have enough capital in your pocket, bro, I'm telling you, it's just absolutely, like, it makes everything so much easier. Like, I wish that when I started, like, I didn't, like... Because, like, when I started, I was, like, so, like, anti, like, job and, like, oh, I'm not going to fucking work a job, whatever. And then I realized you kind of need one in order to just support yourself. Like, dude, one of the best things you can do for yourself is, like, have some type of, have some type of, like, just, like, fallback. Something where you can just, purchase evals at will. You know what I mean? Beat Jade Cap's record on Apex. Dude, listen, I have some pretty big plans for myself. Obviously, I'm not at that level yet. But I have some pretty big plans for myself. I want to show the industry what's possible with real ICT concepts. And I feel like there hasn't really been a person in the community that has showed what's possible with real ICT. And I want to be that first guy. Of course, eventually I'm going to end up moving to a live account, which is my main goal. But what I'm trying to do from here on out, so even though now I'm affiliated with Funded Futures Family, what I want to do is I'm going to go firm by firm, and I'm going to purposely try to get banned or moved to live as fast as possible, while also, of course, trying to rinse them as much as possible. So, like, Funded Futures Family, they're up, they're up first, unfortunately. So I'm going to try my best to rinse them, and I want to do it in, like, the most professional way possible, doing it in the way that ICT would have wanted us to do it. So you're gonna see me looking for the large banger setups and trades, but that would be a dream. Beating Jade Cap's record, that would be crazy. Hey Teague, just saw you have this channel. I marked out the first presented at 9:30 because the opening candle. Yes. I also marked it out as the 9:30 candle. I was looking for my entry on it. Actually, I'll show you. You probably keyed up on it as well, but I was looking for... I actually wanted to see price retrace a little bit back into this range, but unfortunately we just never got it. And at this point, in my opinion, I feel like we're just way too overextended in order for us to, go short off of the first presented again. But yesterday's first presented, but I did hesitate a bit. I should have went short as we bumped the consequent encroachment of yesterday's first presented because I had a pretty strong conviction about where we were going to head. But yeah, just unfortunate. So no trade day for me. I'm pretty much sidelined. I don't want to really take part in anything. Even these longs, I don't really want to take part in anything. But how long is it going to take, estimated, to reach 50K from zero? Really curious about the answer. Dude, honestly, I have no idea. I have no expectations. You guys also have to remember, I'm in a bit of a better position. So, like, this is why, like, I'm trying to figure out how I want to structure this. Because I'm in, like, if I wanted to, I can blow 40 accounts a day and, replenish another 40. So it's like, I feel like I should put a restriction on myself. Like, maybe, like, I can only get, like, one eval a week or something. Or, like, maybe 2 evals a week if I blow it. Like, I have no idea. Because, like, blowing accounts is a part of the process, unfortunately. So that's definitely something that needs to be made transparent. But, yeah. So, I think how long it will take... Dude, it could take a month. It could take a month. It can take 5 weeks. It could take 6 months. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like, the idea is, like, okay, like, I want to run up max payouts on this account. So I'm curious to see because they're funded. Their live program is like 3 payouts, which fucking, in my opinion, hopefully that doesn't happen to me. But like, I want to try to run up the one single account as much as possible first, and then with the profits made from that, depending on whether or not I'm moved from live or if I'm still able to trade with them, I'll get 5 accounts with them, run up all those, and honestly, that's really all I need. Like, that's really all it is, to be honest, to get to that stage, which I know I'm making it sound easy, but it's not. It's getting one payout. Of course, this isn't the way you should be doing it, but this is like the idea. If you can just get one payout, now you have enough to buy 5. And use the same exact process, which should be a winning process, to make, multiple payouts, literally 5 payouts in a row, 4 payouts across 5 accounts. Yeah. I mean, I know I just made it sound easy. It's not, but how long have you been trading? 3 years, a little over 3. Been learning for over a year, somewhat consistently. Last few months been putting work, trading on 100K funded, below 100K, but working towards that payout. Fuck yeah, bro. What do you mean by real ICT concepts? Well, unfortunately, the industry is filled with nothing but people who claim they trade ICT, but it's really just a super small derivative, that being, inversion fair value gaps, liquidity sweeps, which obviously they're a huge part of ICT stuff, but there's much more that goes into it. A lot of people like coming up with their own terminology, like sponsorship and unmitigated. Well, I mean, that's not really like a made up term. It's just like really just like words to describe price action. But everyone thinks that like, ICT trading is just inversion fair value gaps, market structure shifts, and liquidity sweeps, and that is like probably maybe 2% of what ICT stuff really is. And I want to show people what's possible. Like, if you take a look at some of the trades that I take, and I post all of them on my Instagram. But most of these guys, they're looking for like 40-point scalps, 60-point scalps, 70-point scalps. But most of my trades, majority of them, I do have some trades on there where they're like 40, 60, 80-point scalps. There's nothing wrong with that. But I want to show people what you can actually do, which is like catching the daily range, which is majority of what my trading is. I aim to catch the daily range. So you'll see some of my trades, they'll end up being 300 points, 200 points. Most of them don't ever fall less than 150. And there is a way to make that truly consistent, and it's by having a full in-depth ICT process, but of course it requires a lot more knowledge. I mean, then again, I'm assuming most people in here, most of the people that follow me to some degree are like real ICT guys, because some of the people in here, they already know about opening range gaps. They already know about new week, new day, even though new week and new day opening gaps have become a little bit more mainstream. Most people that follow me, they know that my main entry trigger, my main entry point is the first presented. So that's something that a lot of people are learning as well, which is really, really cool. And of course, there's a lot more that I can go over, but yeah. What is ICT way of using prop firms? I have no idea, to be honest. I kind of just fucking said that. I feel like the way he would want us to use it is like instead of trying to play the prop firm game, like just like trade like the normal way. But then again, I have no idea. I kind of just said that shit. Looking for the buy side now. Good luck, brother. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Crazy part is 50K accounts can generate 10K. Yeah. And with the Prime accounts that I'm using, after the first payout, which is a 10K payout, every payout after that is 12,500, because every payout after that across every account is 2,500. Will you look for a trade, or that's it for today? Honestly, that's it for today. So with 15 accounts, you can get 2 payouts. Yeah, basically. Yeah, the inversion guy picks DJ Choice, what they use. Glad there's someone like you to chill with in the morning now. Thank you. But yeah, as you can see, it was just one significant drop right off rip. Hopefully you guys are not trying to long or short this market, because we're already way overextended. It's Friday. We've done more than enough in order to satisfy the weekly conditions. It's OPEX. It's going to be choppy. Please do not try to put on stupid risk. If you're going to be trading something, look for a small 1-to-1. That's about it. I'm done. There's really nothing for me to do. Unfortunately, I can't take anything. It's already way overextended. But damn, man, does ICT lose a trade when I saw his X account? Yeah, he loses. He loses. Do you only trade New York session or do you dabble in Asia and London too? I dabble in Asia. I dabble in Asia. I'll dabble in Asia when, like, if I'm just like for instance, like the other day, I just bought a ton of Apex accounts and I was just like, fuck it, like let me just pass them real quick, and I just looked for one quick setup. That's the only reason why I ever really trade Asia. I don't ever trade Asia to actually like get winning days. Like my main session is the New York AM. That's all I ever really trade, and I don't dabble in London because I'm over in the Eastern. I'm over on the East Coast in the U.S. So I can't really dabble in London, but not gonna lie, I'm in YM longs. Let's see what YM looks like. I'll give you my opinion. Okay, I mean, I don't know. I don't really want to give an opinion, but alrighty, guys. I am going to. Luckily, 25K. Nice, bro. Yeah. But I'm gonna hop off here. Hopefully, you guys did find this a bit insightful, and I will see you on Monday. Monday's live stream. So peace out, guys. Have a good weekend. Oh, and make sure to use code T. Make sure to use code T on Alpha Futures, Fund of Futures Family, Apex, and Level Up Futures. Peace out.